There's a crisis at the southern border, but the Biden administration is downplaying it.
The Biden administration is scrambling to find places to house thousands of children
illegally crossing into the U.S., now being treated as a humanitarian crisis. 30% surge in the last week.
Migrants coming in saying they're coming in because you promised to make things better.
They're not just downplaying it, they're actually making it much worse. They're minimizing the need for border security, they're promising amnesty, and they're issuing executive orders that tear up agreements with our allies that were designed to stop illegal immigration. In fact, when similar surges occurred during previous administrations, a lot of leaders on the left, quite frankly, lost their mind.
Those kids are alone, nowhere to go, nowhere to go. It's criminal.
This is a president who has pushed policies that has been about putting babies in cages at the border in the name of border security, when in fact what it is a human rights abuse being committed by the United States government.
It will be nothing like what we saw in the Trump administration. I trust the Biden administration's policy to be based on humanitarian and love of children rather than political points or red meat for their Republican base.
This hypocrisy is creating tragedy because it contributes to chaos and human suffering at our southern border. I think it's time for us to move beyond the blame game and secure the southern border before the crisis gets much worse. Some things I think seem obvious. First, opening up the border is a stupid idea. Talk to any Border Patrol agent and they'll tell you that physical barriers in the form of steel bollard fencing combined with technology and enhanced CBP personnel are absolutely essential in order to stop the flow of illegal immigrants. The second thing is that amnesty doesn't work. It didn't work in the 1980s, and it will not work now. It punishes those who follow the rules and attempt to come here legally, while rewarding those who disregard our laws. In fact, I would argue it creates contempt for our laws. The latest bills passed by House Democrats actually take us backwards and make the situation worse by repeating those past mistakes. Third, D.C. does not do comprehensive reform very well. Rather than a comprehensive approach, I think we need some humility. That doesn't mean we should throw up our hands and do nothing or wash our hands of the problem when it comes to our broken immigration system. Indeed, the opposite. It means that we need to start small with common sense steps to begin fixing that broken system. For example, I've introduced legislation that would crack down on the cartels. The cartels are using this crisis right now to smuggle drugs, traffic weapons, exploit women and children. Let's treat these dangerous organizations like what they are. Terrorists. Let's give the U.S. government the economic tools they need to dismantle them. I've also introduced legislation, for example, that would direct the president to impose sanctions on corrupt Mexican government officials that are aiding the cartels and thereby contributing to the crisis. Finally, I've introduced legislation that would fix the backlog of immigration cases that are currently crippling our system. This would give the courts the ability to hold lawyers in contempt if they disobey orders and ignore deadlines. We have over 1 million cases right now backlogged that are jamming up the system. These are just 3 simple and obvious steps that we can take right now to give the American people confidence that we can effectively secure the border. Once we do that, then we can move on and fix other parts of the systems in a common sense fashion. Listen, I think America is the greatest country in the world. And for those who want to come here legally, who want to work hard, who want to follow the rules, who want to be part of this amazing country, the greatest country in the history of the world, that's a beautiful thing. We should celebrate. But America is great in part because we have the rule of law. We have safe communities. And the crisis at the southern border undermines the rule of law and it makes Americans less safe. So let's stop ignoring that problem and let's start fixing it.